So when we're talking about data, this means that you're connecting to a certain data source or to a certain database, data warehouse, and it makes sense to limit that data or to see what kind of data we're actually querying or rendering. But firstly, we need to make sure that the data itself, so the data in the data warehouse or in the database, is also quite performant or is fast. So if you have a feeling that the data itself in the data warehouse might be a bit slow, then make sure that you're testing close to the data source. So make sure that, for example, you're connecting through a remote desktop, or for example, just through a SQL server or a dbeaver or whatever, and make sure that the queries you're firing to the data source, not through Tableau, but close to the data source or to cloud data, that those queries already are performant. Because if you're waiting, if you're pulling in 1 million of records and you're pulling them in the database or from the database itself, and it takes already multiple minutes to render everything or to show everything, then you can be sure that everything will be slow in Tableau itself as well. So that's the first point. Second point is, when you're having indexes, make use of them. If you don't have indexes, sit together with your data architect or with your ETL guy and make sure that you're using indexes, especially on columns that you join on from your different tables. So let's say your data architect created a beautiful star schema with different linked tables. So you have your facts, and around that you have different dimensions to join on. If you have system IDs, so throughout the ETL, your data architect created system IDs to join on, and those are indexed, then join on those, because it will be much faster to just join on system IDs which are indexed than if you were to join on, for example, a fact table containing customer information and transactions. So to join on, for example, customer name with the customer dimension on customer name, so basically on a string. So in that sense, joining on system IDs or on identifiers which are indexed will be much more performant than joining on text fields that are not indexed, of course. Then when we're talking about filtering with a live connection, it makes sense to, and we'll come back to this in the calculation part, but this is specifically when you're filtering data. You'll see this in other courses as well. If you're just querying data in a data warehouse, filter by range and do not filter discretely. So on the bottom you see a discrete filter, which is the year of date being 2020. This will be slower than filtering by range, because often dates are indexed as well, and it is easier and it's faster to filter by range. So instead of using a discrete date where you first have to transform your date in year of date format, you can just create a range and you pull that data in. So it will have the same result, but if you use performance recording in dbeaver or in SQL Server, for example, or Oracle, whatever, you will see that has significant impact.